Stanwood Cobb wrote that on one occasion he spoke of the need for loving patience in the face of aggravating behavior on the part of others. One might say, well, I will endure such and such a person so long as he is endurable. But Baha'is must endure people even when they are unendurable. Stanwood Cobb pointed out that he did not look at us solemnly, as if appointing us to an arduous and difficult task. Rather, he beamed upon us delightfully, as if to suggest what a joy to us it would be to act in this way. Professor Jacob Kunz and his wife, Anna, spoke with the Master in 1921. They wondered how one should deal with people who denied religion. He answered, "You must be tolerant and patient, because the station of sight is a station of bounty. It is not based on capacity. They must be educated." There was a man in Haifa who disliked Abdu'l-Baha. Whenever he saw the Master, he crossed the street to avoid him. Finally, one day he approached Abdu'l-Baha and said, "So you are called the servant of God?" "Yes," said Abdu'l-Baha, "that is my name." "Well," said the man proudly, "I am Moses." "Very well, Moses," said Abdu'l-Baha. "Meet me at this corner at 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and we will go and serve the people like the great Moses did." The man agreed, and when they met the next morning, Abdu'l-Baha took him on his routine of serving the unfortunates, helping the poor and needy, consulting with people, and giving counsel. At 6 o'clock that evening, when they returned to the spot where they had started, he was extremely weary. "Remember, Moses," said Abdu'l-Baha before they parted, "I'll meet you here tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Again, they met the following morning, and again Abdu'l-Baha took the man through his regular work. Returning at 6 o'clock that evening, the man was very tired. Sternly, Abdu'l-Baha told him, "Remember, Moses, tomorrow morning I'll meet you here." They met the third morning, and again Abdu'l-Baha took him through his regular work day. When they returned that evening, the man was exhausted. As they parted, the man said, "Abdu'l-Baha, tomorrow morning I will no longer be Moses." Fortitude. The gates of the Akka prison were finally opened for Baha'u'llah, his family and companions, after a confinement of 2 years, 2 months, and 5 days. Many of his companions were consigned to the caravanserai, an unfitting dwelling place. Abdu'l-Baha occupied one room himself. The rooms were damp and filthy. Abdu'l-Baha sold a certain gift which had been given to him in Baghdad, and with the proceeds began to repair the rooms for the companions of Baha'u'llah. He left the repair of his own room to the last. The money ran out, and as a result, his room remained unrepaired and in very bad condition. Not only were its walls damp, but the roof leaked, and the floor was covered with dust. He sat and slept on a mat in that room. His bed cover was a sheepskin. The room was infested with fleas, and when he slept under the sheepskin, fleas gathered and began biting. Abdu'l-Baha worked out a tactic of defeating the fleas by turning over his sheepskin at intervals. He would sleep for a while before the fleas found their way again to the inner side. He would then turn the sheepskin over again. Every night he had to resort to this tactic 8 to 10 times. Baha'u'llah could trust Abdu'l-Baha with the most difficult of tasks, as he knew he would never waver. One such task was that of building a shrine for the Bab on Mount Carmel, above what was then the small town of Haifa, facing the Mediterranean Sea. One of many obstacles which developed was that the owner of the plot, influenced by scheming covenant breakers, would not readily consent to sell the land. Every stone of that building, every stone of the road leading to it, he many a time was heard to remark, I have placed with infinite tears, and at tremendous cost, raised and placed in position. One night he, according to an eyewitness, once observed, I was so hemmed in by my anxieties that I had no other recourse than to recite and repeat over and over again a prayer of the Bab, which I had in my possession, the recital of which greatly calmed me. The next morning, the owner of the plot himself came to me, apologized, and begged me to purchase his property. A companion of Abdu'l-Baha on his journey in America recorded a moment when the master expressed his anxiety for the future. I am bearing these hardships of traveling so that the cause of God may push on uncontaminated, for I am still anxious about what is going to happen after me. Had I had ease of mind on this score, I would have sat comfortably in one corner. I would not have come out of the Holy Land. I fear after me, self-seeking persons may disturb again the love and unity of the friends. The master talked in sorrowful tones until the automobile stopped at a hotel in Chicago. Early in 1904, Ethel Rosenberg made her second pilgrimage to the Holy Land. Still confined to the city of Akka, the master and his family were living in the prison house. For 8 months, Ethel stayed there as his guest. She wrote, to sit at Abdu'l-Baha's table, in his simple home, with Christians, Mohammedans, Jews, and those of other faiths, all of them breathing forth the spirit of living brotherhood, is a privilege not readily forgotten. During her visit, enemies of the cause became particularly vicious in the attacks against Abdu'l-Baha, and caused him and his loyal followers enormous problems and indescribable grief. Deeply distressed by this fact, she asked the master why he, a perfect man, had to go through such sufferings. He answered her, how could they, God's teachers, teach and guide others in the way if they themselves did not undergo every species of suffering to which other human beings are subjected? At a time when Juliet Thompson's mother was suffering much grief because her son's fiancée, both brilliant and beautiful, did not want to make friends with his family, she received an invitation to visit Abdu'l-Baha. Though she was opposed to Juliet's work for the Baha'i faith, and a thunderstorm was raging, she got her rubbers and went to the master. He was exhausted, lying on his bed. He had seen hundreds of people that day, literally. But she was warmly welcomed. His words of comfort included, I heard of your sorrow, and now I want to comfort you. Trust in God. God is kind. God is faithful. God never forgets you. If others are unkind, what difference does it make when God is kind? When God is on your side, it does not matter what men do to you. The next day, Mama was able to say, all my bitterness has gone. She regarded it as a miracle.